Hey everybody, this is Taz for Drop Top Tees. Today we have special guest, my son Tim, home from Dyess Air Force Base. And he is going to be our master technician today as we replace the rear brake pads on ITSY. And the reason we're doing this, you can just look at the wheel and see just the dust. That is 2 days worth of dust. When I put the pads on that I have now, they're more they're a track capable pad, and I put them on knowing they would squeak, knowing they would cause brake dust. I had no idea how much brake dust they would cause, and since we go to a lot of car shows, just not very sustainable. 2 days after you wash the car and the wheels, they're all dirty again. And so I'm switching back to a EBC Reds, which is a much lower dust formula. And yeah, that's what we're going to do today. So here's how you do it. So the first thing we're going to do is chalk our front wheels. Now we're going to lift the back. Okay, now we're going to take off the caliper bolts. So going to take a couple twists to loosen it. So once we remove the caliper, this is just a trick to hold it up out of the way. We'll attach. There we go.
So use bungee cords.
Little bungee cords, just hold it up, keep it out of the way so it doesn't bug you.
Oh, these
Then
brakes.
we pull out the pad. Still has use.
Yeah, but very dusty.
I know.
Very
As
dusty.
you can see, we still have plenty of pad left. It's just, it's so dusty. That's why I'm changing them. It wasn't that they were at the end of their service use. I just got tired of cleaning my wheels every 2 days.
The road is at the end of its service use though.
The rotor's pretty torn up, yeah.
There we go.
Me.
There it goes. Look at all this crazy stuff coming off of it.
I know.
Okay, next to do, let's get those bolts.
The what?
The caliper bracket bolts.
Okay, caliper bracket bolts.
Yeah.
So let me... Okay, next up is the caliper bracket bolts. You said that was a 14 millimeter?
Correct.
Ow. Let's see where exactly where he has this. Would it be easier to go in from the other side, from the back? Would it be able to...
No,
You're just doing
there's crap in the way.
Yeah.
See all that suspension stuff in the way?
Stuff in the way. In case you can't see, it's like right here where my finger is the bolt that we're, the nut that we're loosening up, the bolt that we're loosening up.
That bolt went all the way down there as well.
There's gonna be 3?
2.
2. Okay, but the one we took off already. I was just trying to show that. It's hard to see from this angle. Got it? And off comes, at some point, There it goes.
Just trying to see how these come off. Oh, there we go. Okay, so
you just rotated them down.
Rotated it down like that, and it came out. So I'm assuming you would just have to, for the new ones, you just press it back in like that. You already saw us take off the first one.
You just bend down and it comes off.
In theory, there we go. We just
hey, it comes off.
take that off.
Ta-da! You can see. It's hard. Actually, you can probably see this on film. You can see the lip right here.
You can see how it's shiny.
Some grooves.
Shiny. Oh yeah, these are grooves.
Uh-huh.
Moving is bad. So there's grooves, and then you can see real shiny there, just before, and then not shiny.
And what it does is it slowly wears down the rotor, so you end up with a lip.
Mm-hmm.
And so, instead of turning them, we're just putting new ones on. Okay, so I took my springs inside, cleaned them up a little bit. The general rule of thumb on those is if they're over 48 months old, no matter what condition they're in, you change them out. These particular springs are 11 months old, so you inspect them, make sure they're in good shape. There's no damage, there's no bends or anything, so I can reuse them. I just took them inside and cleaned them up a little bit with a degreaser and isopropyl alcohol.
On the topic of cleaning and doing inspections, see these boots here? You're just going to want to go around and make sure that it's not torn. It's not torn or anything. And then also like move the pistons back and forth. These move back and forth just fine. Just know that if water gets in the
seals,
gets in here, then it can rust that, and it'll not move back and forth as well.
So the primary consideration is you want them to move in and out freely.
Yes.
And you want the boots, the seals themselves, not to have any like dry rot or cracks or anything that would let water get in there. Yes.
So, if you do have any sort of anything wrong with the boots, then they need to be replaced. So now
the good news is when you get these, if you get a hardware kit that includes the springs, they usually come with the boots.
Yes.
So just pop them back in.
Also, if you're going to be reusing the old springs, make sure that you do your best not to damage them. I also went ahead off camera and cleaned up inside, yeah.
Do you want to put the...
So yeah, we're going to put the grease. So we're going to put the grease on there. Reduces noise and stuff. And corrosion. Corrosion is very bad. Put it down there as well.
And you don't need to put in a 1/4 inch thick of grease. You just need to coat the surface.
Yes. So then just pop them back in.
And then these just pop in.
Line them up properly. They will go in. So that's one.
There we go.
There we go. Number 2. Cool. Next is
rotor.
Your rotor. You don't have you don't have to change the rotor every brake change. You can keep the rotor. That is if it's good. We have to change our rotors because
it has a lip.
Because it has a lip.
So why do you want to isopropyl the rotors?
Because if you feel on crap. Yeah, but if you feel on there, then it has a grease film.
It ships with a fluid film, a lubricant, to keep it from rusting while it's in shipping, while it's sitting there in the box.
Yes.
So you want to take that off before, because any kind of lubricant, obviously on your rotor, is going to greatly diminish your stopping power. So just isopropyl alcohol.
Isopropyl, brake clean. Isopropyl's like the cheapest.
You just wipe down the rotors.
Yeah. So I'm just
Here we go. He was cleaning his hands while he was talking.
Just gonna go ahead and
So you just spray it and wipe it.
give it a spray. Wipe it clean. I'm trying to be fast because this is hot potato it.
This is an important thing not to forget to do. Gotta do both sides.
Mm-hmm. You can feel the heat coming off of this.
Uh-huh. The sun's hot. And it's
blocked
metal.
it's blocked by the clouds right now. Spray this side. Once more. Actually, I might need to spray the other side again because it's on the plastic, which would absorb up or have a bunch of
When
bullshit.
you lift it up, I'll pull the plastic out.
All right.
The good news with isopropyl is it evaporates.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's still a little bit of it on there, it doesn't matter, it goes away.
I decided to glove up because the road is hot.
The rotors are really hot sitting there in the sun, like really hot.
Yeah.
I touched them just to see them. It's like, dang.
There you go.
Slides on.
Mm-hmm.
Next.
So we're just gonna get you a brake caliper bracket bolts. Should be the longer ones.
Yeah.
Should be the longer ones. After you take them off, just inspect the threads. And so just go ahead and apply some
Thread locker?
Yeah, medium strength thread locker. A little bit of drippage.
And all this does is help ensure that the threads, the bolts don't come loose.
From vibrations.
Yes, which you really don't want to have happen to your brakes.
Especially the brakes. Okay, that should be good enough. Go ahead and get that back on there. Like that.
Now you need to tighten those up.
It's not turning.
Turning it the wrong way?
Nope. I think I just got it. Yeah, I just got the thread. Okay. Alright, now we're going to snug them up.
Yep.
It's
And
okay.
do you need your opener?
So get your 14 millimeter. And for now we're just going to go ahead and snug them up.
more ratchet.
Just be careful because you got brake lines here.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Big bolt.
Now we're gonna go ahead and press the caliper piston in here. So we'll get off the bungee. Already got this set up. I already had it set up. Just go ahead and stick it in here.
And then twist.
Now some of the pistons you're going to have to rotate and twist at the same time to compress it. In which case this tool is
perfect.
Lovely. There we go. But some of these you just have to press. Why don't you go on? Because I was going the wrong direction.
Yep.
Yeah, it is the twisting one.
And he's just going to take and twist and push that back in. You want to get the seat all the way down flush.
Which that is flush right there, so now I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
And you can see how we have the piston all the way down flush.
Alright, next up, let's get the pads in. Here's Mr. Rowan. Okay, so after you get the piston compressed, get your pads and slide them in.
Can you put the bottom one on and then slide the top one in?
There we go. Ow. Alright, there's one pad.
What we're doing on these is we're putting the bottom in. First of all, you want to make sure
Make sure that the actual...
Make sure the braking material, the pad, is facing the rotor.
There should... Usually there's gonna... If you're like getting ceramic ones, there might be a groove.
Uh-huh.
But...
that metal piece goes to the outside. As you can see,
the old ones didn't have a metal piece on them, but they did have
they
these.
have the pegs.
The pegs. That means they go
away from the rotor.
Yes.
If you do them backwards, it's not a good result.
No. Come on. There we go. All right. They are attached. Before we do that, now we're going to get some more brake grease. And we're just going to grease up the contacting surfaces onto the pad.
Again, you grease anywhere you have metal to metal contact, you put a little grease.
This just reduces noise and such. Get some more. Nope, that might have been a bit too much. Okay. So now we just slide that on.
I don't think it's seated right.
That was in the way like that. And now you're gonna get
bolts.
Now you're gonna get your shorter bolts.
Thread locker.
Get some your medium strength thread locker on the bolts. Leaking.
Well, my driveway's locked now.
And then since we have the bolt or the thing there, we might not be able to get it. Yeah, so we're not gonna be able to get it like all the way hand tight. So just tighten it up as much as you can, and then get the other one, which is down there.
Hopefully I can see it on camera because I can't see what I'm shooting at.
I can see it.
I think I got it.
I can see it. Yeah, you got it. All right. Now we're gonna
torque these down too.
We're gonna torque them, but first we're gonna bottom them out.
Okay.
Which that would be your 12mm.
So you're going to hand tighten just a little bit, get them started. Then now you're going to hand tighten them once they're started.
So we're starting them, hand tighten them a bit till.
And then we'll torque them.
Yeah, and then we're gonna bottom them out. Now, if you remember.
Which basically, when he says bottom out, you're going to tighten them until you meet resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And these ones don't have a really high torque spec. These are 17, right?
Second person for this might be a bit helpful. Okay, that's bottomed out. Now we're gonna go underneath.
And do the same thing.
If I can find it. I don't want to have my head under there. Okay, they're bottomed out.
And now
we're going to torque them to spec. $17?
17.
Cool.
And now.
Alright, I just found some room.
What are you looking for?
The small extension I just stuck over. And it's torqued.
Oh, we still have the other one to do.
Yeah, okay. Now,
Okay, place.
this bottom one should be easier. Torqued.
So the torque specs for the lug nuts are 94 foot-pounds. 94.
Alright, so now, get the wheel on. so now we're just gonna bottom these out real quick. And just tighten them up a bit.
And then torque them down. Then we're going to take a lunch break, then we're going to do the other brake. Well, you do the other brake the same way you do this one, just from the other angle.
You also want to do these when they start in a crisscross pattern.
Right.
Like that was enough.
So the same as when we put them on and bottom them out. You do them in a, I know it's a 4-bolt pattern as opposed to a 5. In 5-bolt pattern, you can basically do every other bolt and you're good. On these, you do opposite sides of the axle and then the other diagonal. Is that braking?
Not yet.
Okay, I was going to say, I didn't think he was pressing hard enough to break it. So now that he has them bottomed out, he's going to go for the torquing down. If you've never used a torque wrench before, it's like, that's the sound you want to hear. The bigger the wrench, the bigger the pop. On my blue one, it's a little bit smaller, the sound's not quite as audible. When you hear it break, the other thing is, you don't keep going and hear it break, 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 because you're going to over tighten the bolt. You go until it breaks and you're done. So we have 2 more very important steps. The first one is, and I already did this, we did this with the car in the driveway and forgot to record it. So I'm just showing you here. You have to take, before you drive the car, press the brake pedal hard to the ground. It'll take 3 or 5 times. And the reason you have to do this is because, remember, we push that caliper, that piston, all the way back. So we have to get everything back into normal operating order, and the way you do that is to press the brake pedal. As I said, it's going to take 3 to 5 times, and you'll feel the brake pedal get hard again. If you fail to do this step, when you go out and drive the car, first couple times you press on your brakes, you're probably going to go to the floor and you're not going to have any braking action because the pistons aren't set correctly. So do this when you feel the brake feel normal, feel hard, you're okay. And then move your car to level ground if you aren't on level ground already, once you get it down off the jacks. And last step, final step, check your brake fluid. Here's the brake fluid reservoir. You can see on the side has min and max. So you want to make sure your fluid is somewhere in between those, preferably up at the max. The service manual recommends .3 brake fluid. If you don't have .3, you can use .4. Now this is maxed out. It's right at the max fill line, so I am good. One thing you'll notice, especially if you're letting your brakes go, as the rotors wear down, it'll look like your brake fluid is lower and lower. Because the pistons go in just a little bit more and more, so it takes a little bit more fluid, pulls fluid out of the reservoir. So as your brakes age, you want to check and make sure your fluid is okay. Your fluid levels are okay. One thing that can happen is if you add a little bit of fluid and then you change out your pads, now the pistons don't have to go as far. You can actually end up with the fluid over the max fill line, and then you just take like a small baster and suck the fluid out of there and get it back to the right level. So the last 2 steps were, once you're done putting all your parts back on, hit your brake pedal between 3 and 5 times is what it normally takes. until you get a normal strong resistance. And then check your fluid. Make sure your fluid in the reservoir is at the right levels. If you have to, add .3 or .4 brake fluid. If you already have .3 in there and you're not doing a complete brake flush, then add .3. If you already had .4 and you aren't completely flushing your brake lines, then add .4. Try to put in what you already had. Okay, so there you go. Brakes are not hard to do. In the case of the 124 Spider, you just can't go onto YouTube and find a bunch of videos that show you how you do them. But it's not something to be scared of. The same way people do brakes on other vehicles, it's the same as on these. It's just the actual individual little pieces are shaped different. But the whole technique is the same. So, instead of going to a shop and paying literally $1,000 or more to have your brakes done, you can get the components for this for several $100s and save yourself a bunch of money. If once you get used to doing it, wheels take between 15 to 30 minutes tops if you're not a professional mechanic. You save a bunch of money that you can use for other mods. It's a win-win situation. So, if you like the video, thumbs up, hit subscribe. I'm glad Tim was here to show me how to do it. He's a professional mechanic now, but on C-130 airplanes. So if he can get a C-130 to stop, hopefully he can get my 124 Spider to stop.
C-130, yeah.
But you understand the whole process and hydraulics and everything like that.
They're a lot bigger too.
Much bigger. They're like, instead of calipers this big, they're like this big. It's amazing. No, they're huge. Anyway,
like that big.
Yes. If you don't hear from me within a week or two, it's because my brakes failed when I went out. So hey, have a good day. If you see more videos in the future, it means this worked, and you can do it with confidence.